In the heart of Newcastle upon Tyne, in the late 1960s, a series of events unfolded that would shock the world and challenge our understanding of childhood innocence. Today, we delve into the chilling case of Mary Bell, an 11-year-old girl convicted of an unthinkable crime. Welcome to If It Wasn't for Those Kids, the channel where we explore the most perplexing juvenile cases in criminal history. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button to join our journey into the darker side of human psychology. Mary Bell's early life in Newcastle was marked by profound difficulties. Born to Betty, a teenage mother often described as neglectful and abusive, Mary's upbringing was unstable and troubling. Her home life was chaotic, with reports suggesting she was subjected to various forms of abuse. Neighbors and family acquaintances painted a picture of a disturbed child. Incidents like Mary's attempts to choke and harm other children in the neighborhood were early signs of her alarming behavior. Witnesses recounted instances where Mary exhibited a disturbing fascination with harming animals and smaller children, behaviors often overlooked or misinterpreted as childhood curiosity. The social landscape of 1960s Newcastle also played a part. In a community grappling with poverty and social unrest, the nuances of a child's psychological distress were often overshadowed by day-to-day survival. Our story begins on a fateful day in May 1968. In a derelict house in Scotswood, a neighborhood in Newcastle, a shocking discovery was made. 4-year-old Martin Brown's lifeless body was found. Initially believed to be an accident, the lack of clear cause of death left more questions than answers. Tragedy struck again on July 31st. 3-year-old Brian Howe was found on wasteland, his death bearing a more sinister mark. The young boy had been strangled, and his body showed signs of premeditated harm. The police were now certain this was the work of a cold, calculating killer. But who could commit such heinous acts? Key evidence included scissors used in the crime, marks on the body, and the unnerving fact that the killer had returned to the scene. The nature of these acts pointed to someone young, someone who understood the victims. During interrogation, Mary Bell's demeanor was chilling. She displayed an alarming knowledge of the details, particularly about Brian Howe's wounds. Her descriptions were accurate enough to horrify even seasoned investigators. It was her detailed account, combined with other circumstantial evidence, that led to her arrest. The investigation led to an alarming conclusion. Mary Bell, an 11-year-old girl, was responsible. In court, the gravity of the situation became apparent. The trial of Mary Bell in December 1968 was a landmark in British legal history. A child, merely 11 years old, stood accused of 2 heinous crimes. The courtroom was aghast as the details of the case were laid bare. The prosecution's case hinged on several key pieces of evidence. The most damning were Mary's own incriminating statements to friends, her knowledge of details only the killer would know, and forensic evidence linking her to the crime scenes. Mary's defense was complicated. Her lawyers pointed to her troubled upbringing as a mitigating factor, suggesting she was a product of her environment, incapable of fully understanding the gravity of her actions. The court also heard about Mary's mental state, with psychiatrists testifying about her lack of emotional development and capacity for remorse. The public reaction was a mix of shock, anger, and disbelief. How could a child commit such acts? Mary's family, particularly her mother, faced intense scrutiny and condemnation. The case stirred a national debate on the nature of evil and the innocence of childhood. When it came to sentencing, the judge was faced with an unprecedented dilemma. Ultimately, Mary Bell was convicted of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. She was sentenced to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, an open-ended sentence reflecting the uncertainty surrounding her future and the potential for rehabilitation. Following her conviction, Mary Bell's journey through the justice system was far from over. It was the beginning of a long and complex path toward rehabilitation. Mary spent time in various institutions, including Red Bank Secure Unit in St. Helens, Lancashire, where efforts were made to provide her with the education and psychological support she had lacked in her early years. Over the years, Mary participated in numerous therapy sessions aimed at addressing her behavioral issues and helping her understand the gravity of her actions. These efforts were part of a larger attempt to reintegrate her into society, a task fraught with moral and ethical dilemmas. The Mary Bell case remains a poignant reminder of the blurred lines between victim and perpetrator, especially in cases involving young offenders. It challenges us to consider the complexities of human psychology, the impact of upbringing, and the potential for change. As society evolves, so too does our understanding of cases like Mary Bell's, leaving us to ponder the delicate balance between justice and rehabilitation in juvenile crime. Today, the Mary Bell case remains a stark reminder of the complexities hidden within the human psyche, especially in the young. It prompts us to question how society, psychology, and the legal system intertwine in juvenile crime. Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on this case? Share in the comments below. And we're curious to hear what case you'd like us to explore next. Your suggestion might be featured in our upcoming videos. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the most perplexing juvenile criminal cases. Stay tuned for our next video, where we unravel another chilling story.